Good evening. We're glad to know you're with us. Welcome to CoreTV News at 7. I am Emmanuel Ezekiel. The Senate has suspended its plan to override the President's veto on constitutional amendment. This is to enable the federal lawmakers challenge the Supreme Court's power to stop them from taking further legislative action on the said bill. The leadership of the legislative arm gave indications of the legislators' next line of action after 1 hour-long execution session. Now, constitutional amendment. Now, legal practitioners have advised the National Assembly to respect the law to avert crisis on the purported constitutional amendment. This is on the backdrop of the National Assembly's reported vow to override the President and the Supreme Court. Oluwaseyi Adegoke has the rest of the story in this package.
The federal government had earlier instituted a suit at the Supreme Court to nullify the proposed amendments to the 1999 Constitution. President Jonathan had withheld his assent to the amendment to some sections of the documents sent to him by the National Assembly. He faulted some of the amendments which gives executive powers and duties to the legislature and judiciary.
The complaint that actually, I say that may deserve some attention is the issue of amendment of the amending section. There is a section that amends the Constitution with which you can, I think Section 9. That particular section was amended, and then it requires a special requisite number for it to be passed into law.
The upper chamber of the National Assembly some days back had vowed to override the President and Supreme Court, claiming that the court does not have the powers to prevent it from conducting its legislative duties.
It's an unnecessary controversy. It's an unnecessary crisis involving now the three arms of government. I'm aware that the House can override the veto power of the President. I'm not aware whether the House can override the judgment or the ruling of the Supreme Court or any court in the land.
Now, the Supreme Court, led by Justice Mahmoud Mohammed, had fixed June 18 for further hearing on the case, on a date the tenure of the current Assembly would have ended.
If there's any order of the court that have been validly granted, the order of the court must be obeyed. And there is a serious consequence for disobedience of court order.
So much money has been wasted in trying to amend this particular constitution, almost in the billions, and time also wasted. The Supreme Court should have been interested in having this matter resolved within the lifespan of this administration.
The process of amending the Constitution still hangs in the balance. Time will tell how the incoming administration will handle the issue. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
President-elect Muhammadu Buhari has denied endorsing any individual for Senate presidency or any position in the Senate. He insists that he will not interfere with the process of selecting principal leaders in both chambers of the National Assembly. In a statement released in Abuja on Wednesday, General Buhari brushed off insinuations in the media that he was in support of a particular senator's emergence as leader, or that he belonged to any camp pushing for the emergence of a leader from a particular part of the country. The president-elect added that the insinuations were probably born out of the people's expectations based on the way things had happened in the past, but reminded Nigerians that change had truly come. Now to Election Petitions Tribunal, where the Rivers State Governorship Elections Petitions Tribunal has ordered that court process be served on Governor-elect Nyesom Wike by either passing it on the gate of his residence or that of the State Secretariat of the People's Democratic Party. This was after the three-member panel, which held its inaugural sitting in Abuja, was told that the governor-elect had been evading service in the petition challenging his victory. The petitioner, Dakuku Peter side of the All Progressives Congress, had, through his counsel, Rotimi Akeredolu, urged the tribunal to grant an order of substituted service on the defendant. In a short ruling, Justice Muazu Pindiga granted the prayer and ordered that service be effected on the defendant. And Labour activists have barricaded the entrance of the National Identity Management Commission in Abuja in protests of the alleged plan to sack 1,000 staff of the government agency. Many of the protesters are civil rights activists, and they say the solidarity protest is because the workers are to be affected are members of the Nigeria Labour Congress. Speaking through their spokesman, they say they will not be in a hurry to lift the barricade until something is done to reverse the sack of the affected staff.
You could see that this protest is a national one. National Identity Management Commission is having problem. By virtue of our work, an injury to one is injury to all.
Correct. Yes.
It is on that note, all agencies across Abuja will gather here today to safeguard the interests of our members here. The NIMC management will just describe them in a very simple term. They are very ungodly.
Recently, there was a problem. They accused the federal civil staff, the federal civil service staff, that there was a fraud, that there was a fraud. There was forgery of certificates of promotion letters given by the federal civil service. Apart from that, they said they will sack the federal civil service staff of 1,000 in NIMC. They now placed us on disciplinary action. I personally, Nwabaji Ugoma Regina, I am affected.
Now, with the fuel scarcity still persisting, some fuel stations are cashing in on the situation on ground by selling products, especially petrol, for exorbitant prices as high as 150 naira per litre, and black marketers are also not left out. Our correspondent Olajumoke Olatunji, who went round some fuel stations in Lagos, brings us her report in this package.
Despite several meetings and promises by the Ministry of Finance, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Department of Petroleum Resources, Petroleum Product Pricing and Regulatory Agency, and the petroleum and product marketing companies, including oil marketers, the fuel scarcity in the country appears to have defied all solutions as the scarcity continues to worsen, heightening the suffering of motorists and the public in general. It has become increasingly difficult on a daily basis to buy the commodity, and for those Lagos residents, getting fuel has been nothing short of a traumatic experience.
All this stress is too much for us. We have stress in this country. It's too much. So I'm from Ikoyi, come to this area to come and fight for it.
It's just too bad. Like me now, I brought kegs and I parked my car there. My kegs are here, so I'm just waiting anyone that come first. If it is the keg, if it is the car, no problem. But I don't want to be at the losing side.
The experience has not been funny at all. You know, every time you need fuel, you have to stay in the queue for an hour, 2 hours. Sometimes you wouldn't get. I was in the queue for about an hour and a half at Mobile.
I strongly believe this particular issue has been so politicized. I don't think this is just an ordinary fuel scarcity.
A manager at one of the filling stations, however, has this to say on why the scarcity has persisted.
Most of the filling stations nowadays, before the vehicle bring their, if you want to hire a truck from a depot, it's 70,000. But now they are collecting 200,000. So, and it's not everybody that have that type of money. So most of the filling stations will not work. Those ones that are working, they have to pay more than, and at the same time, the demand is more than the supply.
With the long queues at the fuel petrol stations opened, consumers have become desperate and are buying fuel at any amount available, even though these prices are ridiculous. But we hope that the end to this crisis is nearer than expected. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Now, barely 1 week after the discovery of locations of multiple vandalism of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation NNPC pipelines along Ogere axis of Ogun State, the state government seems to have made another breakthrough with the discovery of a filling station selling a product suspected to be unrefined crude oil to customers as diesel. Again, our correspondent Olajumoke Olatunji has more in this report.
The discovery was made by the state task force in enforcement and compliance with the official fuel pump price in the state. This man was a victim of the suspected unrefined petroleum product being sold at a filling station in Belfast. The product, according to research, has already damaged his vehicle, and he was at the filling station to complain and demand for justice before men of the Ogun State Task Force on the enforcement and compliance with the official fuel pump price in the state came to his rescue.
They said should wait. Their manager has not around 6 money. What happens to your vehicle? My vehicle is already spoiled. My vehicle is already damaged. My vehicle. And that's money. I tell me their manager has not around. Their manager has not around. What kind of fuel you want to buy? I said I want to buy this. This diesel that they said to us.
Also monitoring the sale of fuel across the state's capital and had a serious battle with those that have the commodity but refuse to sell to people.
Suffering us. They asked us to go and bring keg. We went and bought a new keg and lined up. We have been here for hours. After getting to the point, now they say we should go and bring car. I'm going to Mina. See, I've been begging them. See, look at the car there.
In all the filling stations visited, attendants were compelled to change their pump price from 150 naira to the official price of 87 naira per litre, and the people were asked to be orderly while they monitored selling of the commodity. The fate of those arrested could not be determined at the time of filing this report, as task force officials claimed they needed to report this case to higher authorities before speaking to journalists. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News.
Well, we'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories here on CoreTV News at 7. Stay with us.
Every day of the week, we bring to you divergent views on news making the headline.
If people who commit crime are being rewarded with national honors, with national appointments, then where are we going in this country?
It's not about whether it was Jonathan or whether you are going to have a Buhari. It's the kind of political structure we run.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
We are talking about a Buhari who at 41 became head of state. The man did not exhibit the attribute of somebody that is strong intellectually.
So, comrade, you're saying if you become governor, you're going to bring back Okada? You will bring back the market women on the streets?
Excuse me, don't put words in my mouth.
On Core Digest, we bring all of this to the court of public opinion, where you are the judge.
Welcome back. It's still CoreTV News at 7. You can track our stories following the social media platform of ours, facebook.com/CoreTV News, on our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG, as well as YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space and then news. Inspector General of Police Solomon Arashi has dispatched a special crack squad to tackle cultism, kidnapping and other vices in Edo State within 24 hours of his confirmation as substantive police helmsman. The squad is headed by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad. A police statement indicates that the new squad will draw out operatives from the Police Mobile Force, Criminal Intelligence and Investigation Department, Explosives Ordnance Department and State Anti-Robbery Section SARS. Police spokesman Emmanuel Ojukwu says the step is taken by the IG and is in line with a commitment to ensure the protection of life and property, as well as build a people-oriented police force. And now to cost of governance. The call for immediate review of the high cost of running government in the country continues to generate reactions. Some see it as a ploy by the outgoing administration to create pitfalls for the new government. Others are of the opinion that it is a necessary step that will ensure even development in the country. In this report, Oluwaseyi Adegoke engages an economist on budgeting.
Every establishment needs a budget to guide its mission. A budget is a financial document or plan prepared and used to project future income and expenses. It is made and approved in advance for the year in which it is to be used or implemented. Such a document is expected to have certain features in order to achieve definite set goals and objectives. However, in the Nigerian experience, Allowances accruable to government functionaries in different arms of government has influenced expenditure in questionable ways over the years.
What we realize, the revenue, we have not been able to save or invest. Most of it has been spent, either on recurrent expenditure, privilege, mismanagement. And that's why we are where we are today.
Most of the revenue brought in were invested in recurrent expenditure for paying salaries, and which eventually will not add value to the economy.
The National Assembly has passed Nigeria's 2015 budget 5 months into the year, but it has not yet come into effect. The president is yet to sign it into law. This, in its own way, raises a question of whether or not there is a need to review allowances accruable to government functionaries as a pitfall for the incoming administration.
But I believe very strongly that somebody who has been there before, coming back with a body language of zero tolerance to corruption, you'll be able to gather a crack team.
We have a lot of waste outside there.
Some of the features of a budget are accurate income projections, enough categories to give you a meaningful picture of where money goes, cost-cutting mechanism, and most importantly, a positive attitude. Could these be pointers to a productive budget for national development?
The amount must not be spent in recurrent expenditure. It must not be consumed. It must be used to develop infrastructure.
Your greatest resource, the greatest resource of any company or any country, are actually the people.
Nigerians hope with the coming of the new administration come May 29, every citizen will feel the development in every part of the country. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Our next story takes us to Kwara State, where the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arraigned a Kwara State Commissioner for Information, Olatunji Moronfoye, and Okwe Saraki, Senior Special Advisor on Millennium Development Goals to Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed, before Federal High Court in Ilorin. Moronfoye and Okwe Saraki, who is cousin to the former Kwara State Governor, were docked for offences bordering on abuse of office, awarding contracts to cronies, diversion of public funds, and money laundering. The Information Commissioner is facing a 3-count charge, while Saraki, who was arraigned alongside 2 of his companies, were arraigned separately on a 5-count charge. According to the charges, Moronfoye allegedly used his previous office of Senior Special Advisor to the former governor to allegedly enrich himself by awarding a contract of over 200 million naira for the renovation of health facilities in the state to a company in which he has interest and was the sole signatory to the account. EFCC said Saraki similarly abused his office and laundered state funds for his personal benefit by awarding inflated contracts to companies owned by his cronies. The accused persons pleaded not guilty to the charge when it was read to them, and after listening to the submissions of both counsel on bail, trial judge Justice Faji admitted the accused to bail in the sum of 50 million naira and 2 sureties in like sum. The case has been adjourned to September the 22nd and October 20th for hearing. And out of Osun State, where the state government has debunked allegations claiming that a son of the Governor Rauf Aregbesola, Kabir Aregbesola, was arrested at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport on May 12, 2015, with a large sum of money in hard currencies. The allegation was debunked by the state's director, Bureau of Communications and Strategy. He went to claim the authors of the wicked and malicious lie are doggedly pursuing their agenda by engaging in an aggressive push for the falsehood to reach a large population, especially using the social media. The statement claims the younger Aregbesola neither traveled anywhere nor had any encounter with any security personnel on the said day. Okonlawon claims the evil minds at work were out to drag an innocent young man's name into the dirt in order to get at his father, saying Aregbesola has maintained a life of moderate family man with a set of highly disciplined children who cannot be found wanting on issues of morals and societal values. Okonlawon further advised members of the public to dismiss the allegations because it is just another handiwork of mischievous minds. Now, to Ogun State, Ogun State Governor Ibikun Amosun has revealed efforts by his administration to prevail on the federal government to resuscitate the abandoned international airport project initiated 10 years ago. Our correspondent Olajumoke Olatunji has more in this report.
On a tour on the site of the proposed international airport project located at Imoson village, Wasami area in Ewekoro local government area of Ogun State, the governor Ibikun Amosun appeals to the federal government to complete the airport project, noting that will be of immense benefits to the government. He further maintained that though the project is purely a federal government-sponsored one, the state government is ready to facilitate it so as to better the lots of the people.
Their money, we are not paupers like that. Yes. Build for us, let them have all the amenities that they will need, social amenities, schools, hospital, all of those things. Do it well for them. They will allow you to do what you want to do. So for me, I'm taking that up as well with the federal government. Whoever they are going to give eventually to do this, we will encourage them to say, oh, CCC is working for you. Why not? Let's sign. We as a state have agreed with them. Give them the necessary wherewithal.
I'm also further assured the people of the state government's plan to relocate and build new settlement areas that would be adorned with basic social amenities like schools, hospitals, portable water, and electricity supply, among others.
But let me use this opportunity to appeal to our fathers, our mothers, that for development to happen, all of us must pay some kind of price. Because now we are going to Peru now. People will tell me that this is our land. No, let the land be used for things that everybody will benefit.
He further appreciated the residents of the village and assured them of the government's total commitment to all his.
Now, with the increased rate of patronage of genetically modified organisms, popularly known as GMOs, it has been predicted that in 2025, out of 2 children will be autistic. Briefing journalists at the CDHR building Lagos, a representative of the civil society group Nigerians Against GMO says Nigeria should imitate other countries who have shut their doors against the disguised deadly increase in food production. Patience Ajiboye has more in this report.
Following the signing into law of the Biosafety Bill last month by President Goodluck Jonathan, the act that was described as a milestone in the domestication of modern biotechnology in Nigeria is now facing criticisms. As a civil society group, Nigerians Against GMO raised alarm and tasked Nigerians to stand up against GMO, describing it as a scam and charade. GMOs, according to research, are artificial and unnatural plants known as Monsanto products, created by scientific manipulation of plant genes using chemicals that are highly carcinogenic and thus very harmful to the health. A representative of the group, Gbadebo Rhodes Vivo, says not only is it harmful to the health, it will cause a fall in farmers' income, as they will no longer be able to replant seeds, but will always have to buy seeds from the chemical companies.
These companies claim patent rights over these seeds, and the seeds are sterile as well. They cannot be grown the next year.
Calling for a total comeback to organic seeds, he insists Nigeria is richly blessed with all needed for natural farming and should take a cue from countries like Japan and the Gambia, who still fare well without the Monsanto products.
There is no reason why we cannot focus on manufacturing and processing our produce. In this day and age, we are still exporting raw products.
Rhodes Vivo also says, since the call for its termination has started since last year and nothing has been done about it, the group will, as sites embarking on enlightenment, take to legal action. The calls for the stop of GMOs are now being directed to President-elect Muhammadu Buhari to ensure the stoppage of the bill. Patience Ajiboye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
And that's our last take on the news at 7. Do not go away. In the next half hour, we'll bring you the reporter, the midweek edition. I'll be here to have that.